Well, that was an excellent day yesterday. The crux of it being the Kilmarnock match. Let's get on to that. Have a look at some of these matches yesterday and the trades. Burnley and Brentford all dependent on that red card. Must win for Burnley, must win for Brentford. Relegation 6-pointer. I think were this 11v11, it would be a lot rockier for Burnley. In the live stream, I was umming and ahhing about laying Nottingham Forest late on, given the very strong both teams to score pattern for both teams. And Luton got out of it with a very, very late equaliser. A change in tack now for Nottingham Forest new manager, trying to keep clean sheets. He's had a couple of 1-0 defeats, nearly had a 1-0 win. Fulham and Tottenham, well, this is a reminder to you of playing London derbies. Simple as that. This is why I keep harping on about derbies, derby-style matches, which is like your AC Milans against Juventus, that kind of thing. We can get imponderable results. Moving on down to the Bundesliga. Well, Darmstadt did score first. The only real value you could have got was in a Bayern Munich win at half-time, which they got. We got the Heidenheim equaliser against Mönchengladbach, and that produced a pretty decent profit because Heidenheim's +1 odds were pretty good. It was a 2.6 the favourite match, so a bit of a risk, but this is what happens when you have an in-play stats feed. You can really rely on the in-play stats to give you a good indication. And Heidenheim got the equaliser, and they've been in pretty decent form, it must be said. Mainz and Bochum. Well, Mainz very rarely score 2 goals. And indeed, if you get a bit of a help from the referee with the penalty, you've got a good chance of scoring 2 goals. That's what I was warning members about yesterday, because normally we'll take Mainz on if they lead, because they've failed to score that second goal in 15 consecutive matches. Union Berlin, another good call in the research. When the market speaks for Union Berlin, they turn up. Yet another win. The angle in yesterday, laying the 0-0 at half-time. If you lay the 0-0 at half-time and the team whose favourite scores first, you get that odds movement. If you get a 2-0, that's a guaranteed profit, and you must cash out whenever you lay the draw with a 2-0. Wolfsburg and Augsburg all hinged on this red card. We didn't profit from the red card because Augsburg's response was very quick, right at the beginning, right at the end of the second half. I don't know if this was related to this. Normally, such proximity to a goal, normally a penalty, but a good reaction from Augsburg, ending the Wolfsburg score-draw pattern and taking advantage of the red card. You could have laid the draw again second half. In laying the draw in a red-carded match, if the team with 11 players scores, then you're guaranteed a huge odds move, all the way up to about 10s. Hoffenheim and Stuttgart, we don't play the Hoff. Stuttgart, top 5, top 6 side, so thoroughly deserved that. Monza and Cagliari, I would have preferred Cagliari to score first because Monza don't concede that second goal at home. Udinese and Torino, I wouldn't have laid a Torino lead here because they're very tough side to score against, and this ended another draw pattern for Udinese. Salernitana and Lecce, I was umming and ahhing about whether to get involved in this one, but you can't really trust these two dodge spots. You could have laid over 1.5 goals to cover that 0-1 for Lecce, because Salernitana's in-play stats were pretty good. Lazio, back from Champions League distraction. How do they get on? Well, Frosinone scoring first. That's your first potential angle in. If you favoured Lazio yesterday, as on paper you should have done, really. And then you could have laid the draw second half. Lazio score first, you'd have got the trade out there. The 3-3, wow. 2-3, I thought it was 3-3. So, good result. Let's have a look as we head down to English Championship League 1 and League 2. Mallorca and Granada deserved that 1-0 lead. Good result for Real Madrid. Osasuna never led at any stage, so no real trading angle. Getafe and Girona, yet another match you could have laid over 1.5 goals and backed Girona +1, given the fact Girona are top 3. But strange market, only above evens for Girona. Good result for Getafe. That Atletico Bilbao, as ever, expected to get a result against Alaves. No problem at all. Well, we'll see why we don't like insurance, but we see why we do like insurance. It can save you from losing. Laying over 1.5 goals, getting involved in Anderlecht in some capacity, depending on the Kortrijk opening goal. If it came too late, or 79th minute, you'd have got pretty short odds taking on Kortrijk. But as ever, if I do get involved, I do like to cover these score lines. It may have been impractical with such a late opening goal for Kortrijk. In that case, you revert to delaying and then try to create some value late on with a possible Anderlecht equaliser. Mlada Boleslav, good example this of laying the draw with a red card involved, because as I alluded to earlier, we've got the red card here, then we got the 1-1 draw, which was a penalty. Now we start laying that late on because the in-play stats were pretty good from Mlada Boleslav. Thankfully, this missed penalty didn't cost them, and they've got a 2-1. Ignore that late red card. This is what you're after, the 2-1. If you've laid the draw and the team with 11 players scores first, the draw odds rise markedly. As I said earlier, up to about 10s or higher. Danish First Division got us a really good play earlier on, and I've got a new trading technique for you now. It's place your plays, go and have a cup of tea, come back, and Fredericia score 2 very quick goals to get you a very nice profit. Well, it would have been a very nice profit had my cash out got taken. I think it would have been something like a 40 or 50 pound profit here, but I wasn't monitoring it and the cash didn't get taken, which was a real pity, because a lot of work to get to that 2-2 from 0-2 down. 171 waiting on Fredericia if they won, but this is an incorrect green screen. My green up didn't get matched, and I didn't monitor it to make sure it got matched, which was a real pity. We could have made, or what I would have made, I was looking for that 40, 50 quid green screen at that very quick 2-2 for Fredericia. We got involved twice here. We didn't do any panicking. Usually at 0-1 Koje, I got involved because Fredericia's stats were so good. Then it becomes 0-2, and that's our bugbear from yesterday, the 0-2. The only way you can cover 0-2 really is correct score market or both teams to score no. But, as I say, make a cup of tea, come back, and lo and behold, it's 2-2 to Fredericia, the strong favourites. Fantastic comeback, and I hope you made a really good profit there. A fascinating English football yesterday, but any real plays? Not really. Middlesbrough deserved to win based on their first half performance. Blackburn deserved to win based on their second half performance. This is another case of some of these sides really digging their heels in, relegation threatened sides. And why didn't I take the draw on here? Well, have you seen where Rotherham are? They're pretty much relegated. So a Huddersfield red card, I would have preferred a Rotherham red card, then I would have been itching to lay that late draw. Must win for both of these two as well. Relegation 6-pointer. No real trades yesterday at all in the English Championship. English League One. We did lay the draw, Barnsley and Cheltenham. I did my due diligence, but this is another case, I'm afraid, of this part of the season. Look where Cheltenham are in the league. Here. So no wonder they've dug their heels in and tried to eke out a point. So we're playing with fire at this stage of the season, aren't we, in dismissing these relegation-threatened sides. Time and time again in the Premier League, in the Championship, League One and League Two, they overperform. And by overperform, they can keep very strong favourites quiet or even nick a win, as Southampton felt the other week, I think, against Millwall. Derby scoring second half again. We should have laid the draw there, really. Fleetwood deserved their equaliser. Another relegation threatened side. Fleetwood getting out with a point. As you can see there. Deserved as well on the in-play stats. That Peterborough Pompey, no surprise really to see top of the league. Portsmouth get a result here, but again, insurance could have been played. I didn't take on the Portsmouth lead though myself. Stevenage, Leyton Orient. Stevenage did knock on the door for that equaliser, and yet again, insurance would have helped you out here. Laying over 1.5 goals to cover that 0-1 scoreline. English League 2, anything doing there yesterday? This was a losing trade. Now you see why I didn't hold out for the £300+ Kilmarnock, and I decided to cash out. I do encourage you, if you've got a losing trade earlier on, to, in your next trade, to get the green screen to cover any losses. That was one of the losses yesterday. You saw with Wrexham, which was another play, insurance premium coming to work there to create a break even. What I did here is a very good technique come up with by Paul Dunwoody. When you've taken insurance out, why not in the 90th plus minute cash out of your lay of over 1.5 goals? Gives you a chance of doubling up your money if you get that Wrexham equaliser. Elsewhere, not much other trading angles. English National League we don't get involved in. I don't tend to get involved in a cup, but there was an argument for taking on Coventry's initial lead, and this is a good example of being a profitable trader but not calling the final result correct. Coventry opening goal on El Nouri, who was superb yesterday, equalised, and the lead could have got you out if you took on the lower tier side against the Premier League side. But then here comes Sims and Wright, absolutely superb end to the match for Coventry. Sky Blues heading back into the FA Cup. We were very lucky yesterday in a couple of goals before half time. Let me show you the first one. Palmer, odds on favourites, in-play stats, absolutely. This is the way to create value in the half-time market. Again, you've got in-play stats to thank here. I like plundering the half-time score market, particularly when an odds-on favourite is showing it with the in-play stats. The three main in-play stats I use are shots on target, shots off target, corners. That's all you really need. Can give you an excellent gauge. Put it all together. Put together the fact Palmer at top of the league and have a go. We only got the 0-1, but I like to graduate. I like to look for a bigger profit if we can get the bigger scoreline. And we did that twice yesterday. We did that with St. Pauli as well. Look at the risk reward here, £7.63. Liability, £22.54 profit on the 0-1. A massive 67 quid if St. Pauli score their usual 2 goals before half time. Alas, they scored their second goal second half, but we come out of that with a decent gain, as you can see. Here's one for you late stayers in Portugal. Pepe, who's nearly as old as Joe Biden, scored the own goal for Vizela. Arguably, you could have got involved in a half-time market, but if you did get involved at half-time by laying over 1.5 goals to cover that 0-1, backing Porto and laying Vizela in the match odds market, that red card would have actually given you your first profitable angle. Bring forth the goals after that. Boom, boom, boom. Pepe making up for his own goal. 1.13 shot. What does 1.13 shot normally entail? 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. So a good result there for Porto for you late players. I'm afraid 8:30, if you add 7 hours to that, that's what's that, 3:30 a.m. A little bit too late for me, but there's money to be made in Portugal. The SPL was where we made our big money yesterday. Celtic and St Johnstone, not so, but again, I didn't get involved. What you could have done in this Celtic match, 20 minutes, such a short price favourite, 1.13. 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted half-time score market, as we did with Parma and as we did with St. Pauli. But Celtic, for me, haven't turned up on a couple of matches like this and lost me money. So once bitten, twice shy. But they did turn up 40th minute. As long as you get one goal, you're in the green. But this is another typical 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. For what? A very short price favourite. Good stuff. Where's our old pals? This is the big profit maker of the day yesterday. Let's have a look at the pre-match odds, 2.05. Got an odds-on favourite. Okay. What do we see here? Got a 0-2 lead after 39 minutes. So it's one of my system plays, one of my ideas. And then this could have produced you a £300 profit. But I'll take the £92 green screen. Why? Well, if you've been paying attention, you'll know that the Hearts trade lost. And you'll know that I think it was AFC Wimbledon lost. I had to compensate for those. So I had to take the green up at 2-2. And of course, as soon as I greened up, Kilmarnock decided just to rub my nose in it. Look at this. As soon as I green up, 3 minutes later, you get the 3-2. Now, arguably, I should have stayed in. Why? If you weigh up what's left in the match, 25 minutes left, weigh up the momentum change. 2 quick goals for an odds-on favourite. Not an odds-on favourite, for a favourite with home advantage. Should have stayed in. This for the sake of £7 liability. £300+ profit for the sake of £7 liability. I was a bit of an idiot not cashing out at the 2-2, but I had to, because as I say, we've got losses with Hearts, which we had to compensate for. It's not showing, so there we go. What happened here? Losses with Hearts. This was a speculative one based on Hearts' reputation rather than any strong favouritism for Hearts. But they did get a goal in the 77th minute, but that didn't stick. And they got a late goal. They did come from 2-0 down last time against Ross County and get a 2-2. So they did have it in the locker. So that's why that loss, I had to cash out here to compensate. Although I staying in, £300 profit for a £7 stake. Absolutely mental. But watch out for these in the future. Really superb stuff. This is what I was alluding to. They've been in such good form, Hearts. The best of the rest. Third in the league. Take away the Old Firm. But again, done by that 2-0. How do you solve this 2-0 problem? If you're doing insurance, you can either back 2-0 and 2-1. You can back both teams to score no and the 2-1 scoreline. And you can break even if we get these errant scorelines. So it's worth investigation, isn't it? 74th minute goal disallowed. That would have changed the whole complexion of the profit making, or the profit and loss for the trade. Even with Yoda getting a late goal from Star Wars, it wasn't enough to get the 2-2. They did deserve that 2-2. They bossed the second half. This was just disappointing. So a superb day yesterday. Made even more superb if you didn't cash out of your Kilmarnock play, which you'd have got at the live stream. Superb stuff. Let's have a look at today's matches. West Ham and Aston Villa. 2.55 the favourite. So, well, a team in claret and blue could win this one, I think. Very hard to unpack this one. Both teams coming off the back of European football. Successful European football for West Ham against Freiburg. Watching brief, I'm afraid. Do read the previews if you want to get somebody else's opinion into these matches. French Ligue 1, I don't research. It's going to be looked at in play. Monaco odds on favourite, Reims odds on, and PSG. Just make sure you know the standings at this stage of the season for motivating factors. For example, if Nantes are playing Lorient or Nantes are playing any other relegation threatened side, expect that draw to end Indeed, they were playing Strasbourg yesterday, I believe. Not. German Bundesliga, Freiburg and Bayer Leverkusen. Freiburg coming off the back of that tonking by West Ham. They play a Bayer Leverkusen side who love scoring goals. Coming from 0-2 down to beat Karabakh 3-2 midweek. Thanks, I think, to a red card as well for Karabakh. And that was one missed opportunity. I was thinking to myself, why don't we back Karabakh at 12s here, given the fact they scored first against Braga, scored first against Leverkusen in the first leg, and didn't follow my instinct. Dortmund against Eintracht Frankfurt, good opportunity for the Yellows to get a result here. Juventus against Genoa. The old lady look good here. I can't see any weakness there. AC Milan will be targeting 2 or 3 goals, as they tend to do away from home against bottom half sides. Roma under Daniele De Rossi should continue on their merry way in Serie A. He has got them scoring 2+ goals. Atalanta, Fiorentina, both involved in Europe midweek. It's a tight form-wise, but I think Atalanta just slightly shade it on their form, home form. Inter and Napoli is a derby-style match, like the Fulham-Tottenham, but this is a different variant of that. This is the champions from last year against the champions, potential champions this year. I strongly favour Inter Milan here. Eredivisie, I don't research, but we've got a derby-style match, PSV and Twente, 1.4 the favourite. I will be monitoring these for you. Ajax, post-Europa Conference League, and they tend to get caught out, or they have done. The arrival of Henderson has not made a jot of difference for Ajax. We do want to see Noel Edmonds' good friend, Mr. Brobby. He is their main goal threat. I don't think we have the team news up just yet. Mr. Brobby isn't injured. I'll be monitoring these for you in the live stream today, Footballtradingprofits.club, so don't worry about that. Sevilla, Celta Vigo. Let's have a look at some of the research in more depth. So we're at Sevilla, Celta Vigo. Competitive match in expectation. Second half goals, if none first half. Those are the main angles here. 5-0 at half time at home, none at full time for Sevilla. Villarreal, Valencia. Villarreal lose against the top 9 at home. Valencia tend to lose away against the top 13. So these two are as poor as each other. Very hard to read. Las Palmas and Almeria. The simple stat here is that Almeria are yet to win a match this season. They are picking up 4 draws in the last 5, suggesting they're knocking on the door. They're relegated, of course. But do pay attention to that angle. If Almeria are leading 0-1 or 0-2. Rayo Vallecano against Real Betis. No in-depth research given the odds, 2.4 the favourite. I like the look of Betis. Particularly, only 1 defeat against 11th and lower. No win in 11 at home for Rayo Vallecano. But why, oh why, is it 2.4 the favourite? Atletico Madrid and Barcelona, as I was saying about derby-style matches, this is yet another one, like Inter and Napoli. I'm not going to research these. You just saw what happened with Fulham and Tottenham. Okay? You play at your own peril, derby-style matches. Let's have a look. Anything else? The Bundesliga is split into championship and relegation groups now. So Red Bull Salzburg playing Hartberg. Usual odds on favourites, and Sturm Graz odds on today as well. Right time for the first match, at least, for me to cover it in my 2 o'clock live stream. Don't forget, this will be the last live stream for a couple of weeks, so do come along if you can. International break is upon us. Belgian Jupiler League, well worth our attention today as well. Not researching it, but lots of odds on favourites. Cercle Brugge, Ghent, and Club Brugge, usuals, suspects are odds on favourite there. Well, the Danish First Division was excellent yesterday. One of the Danish Super League will be Aarhus, odds on Brøndby at home. So, got some really good sides at home and odds on favourite. So, I think we could get a good trade or two at 4 o'clock today for that. Leeds play Millwall today. Do be wary. Millwall, as I say, got that result against Southampton away from home. Another newly relegated side in Southampton. I don't think we can get the... Can we get the head-to-heads for Millwall? That 1-2 win away at Southampton. Similar odds as well for Saints. So Millwall, desperate need for points. I keep saying that, and you could get the Lions roaring. Although, as you can see, they've done a hell of a lot of work to get that gap. It's position-wise, it looks good, but only a 4-point gap between them and relegation. Skating on thin ice. Imagine what a win does today. Just takes them up to 46 points and increases that gap to these relegation-threatened sides. So it's a must-win for Millwall. With Leeds, a win today will take them into the automatic promotion spots. So you've got to lay any late draw in this one. Must win for both teams. Salford, under new management, been picking up points, and they need points. So well worth following. FA Cup to be reacted to in play, I'm afraid. Can't do any pre-match research. You saw what happened Wolves and Coventry yesterday. So those are the main leagues. I will see you for a live stream at YouTube. All of the details will be available for you at Footballtradingprofits.club research section. Last one for 2 weeks. So I really hope you can attend. And if I can pick out another £300+ profit for a £7 stake, I will try my very best to. See you later on at 2 o'clock at Footballtradingprofits.com.